Everybody, I'm back with another video. CR Sports Analysis. We've been gone for a couple days. My profile got banned on YouTube for a week, but we back, man. We back with better plays, better picks. Follow me on Instagram at cr.bets underscore. But let's get into today of what I have for this playing tournament. Miami at Atlanta and Dallas at Memphis for what I have for that game. The first game, Miami at ATL, Trey Young 8 assists, Tyler Hero 15 to 20 points, Khalil Ware 6 to 8 rebounds, Dyson Daniels 10 points. I really like Dyson Daniels. Bam Adebayo 10 to 15 points, 6 to 8 rebounds, and Andrew Wiggins 10 to 15 points. Now, I will not be going over every single pick, but I will go over some. And the one that I want to get to is the Dyson Daniels pick. His line is at 13.5. So you can find value for him at 10. Um, as we can see, 10 points this whole season. He's never gone more than 2 games this whole season without getting 10 points. The last time he played in Miami, he had 9 points, March 27th. But he dropped 18 on them in February 26th and 10 February 24th. He played over 30 minutes in each of those games. As of late, he's been playing over 25 minutes, so we expect him to play over 25 minutes. And it stays the same. He's never went over 2 games this whole year without getting 10 points. So we do like Dyson Daniels for 10. I like Tyler Hero too. He had a big game yesterday. I do think he's going to have another big game today. Only if Atlanta's defense can stop him. If Atlanta defense can't stop him or Bam Adebayo, I do see Miami winning this game. For starters, Miami only allows 111 points per game on defense. And they only allow a 35% three-point percentage and a 46% field goal percentage. Now, on the Atlanta side of things on defense, Atlanta averages more blocks and more steals than Miami. So Dyson Daniels is going to get them steals. He's probably going to get at least 2 steals today. On the offensive side of things, however, though, Atlanta does do better offensively than Miami. Looking at the top left, Atlanta averages 119 points per game to Miami's 111. They also put up a better field goal percentage at 47%. Now, Miami does shoot the better three-point percentage, but it's only by 1%, 36% and 35%. Miami is the better free throw shooting team, but Atlanta, it does look like they can out-rebound them, and they do allow less rebounds than them. Just to go a little bit deeper into that game, looking at the spread, it's +1. It might be +1.5 later. Miami's sitting at plus money, +101. The total is at 220. So expect players to drop buckets today, but they will be good on defense as well. They will be getting stops. They will be getting steals, but I do think players score too. So pretty much props are good to go for this game for the over. But let's see how this game may shape out. Maybe do something live related. I wouldn't really be quick to pull the trigger on anything before the game with this game. Maybe Dallas and Memphis, we can get into that in a second. But this game can go either way, as far as money line goes. The Heat are 6-4 in the last 10 against Atlanta. They're 5-5 against the spread and 5-5 over and under. The Heat have won their last 2 games versus Atlanta by a landslide, 122 to 112 and 130 to 109. So if Miami keeps that same pace they did in that win against Chicago, I do think Atlanta does take an L today. They didn't score 100 points versus Orlando, but the game before that they won 117 to 105. I'm pretty sure that was a game where they didn't play starters. Actually, no, that was a close game. Well, it was supposed to be a close game. They did play their starters that game. So like I said, this game can go either way. I wouldn't be too quick to, doubt Atlanta. Yes, they're coming off a loss against Orlando, a bad loss where they got blown out. but that's just mainly because they were undersized. I do think they size up better against Miami. On only centers Miami have is Bam Adebayo. Atlanta, if Onika, if he can get in the paint, get some points. Khalil Ware, if he can get stopped, I do think Atlanta can do good. Miami does match up with them well size wise. This Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo, like I said, but I think Onika Okongwu can protect the paint. Atlanta is 5-5 in their last 10 and 5-4 against the spread, while Miami is 6-4 in their last 10 and 7-3 against the spread. Atlanta's 21-19 at home. Miami's 18-23 away. So maybe look at that. Atlanta is the better team at home than Miami is away. Injury side of things, not too many. Trae Young probable for today. Not really any injuries on the Miami side of things. Hey, it's not really too much for this game, man. I mean, it's the first game of the day. Normally, the first games of the days don't really go. The 7 o'clock games for Eastern time, for me, 7 o'clock, they don't really go the way that I want them to go all the time. It's mainly the later games that do go, that I do predict pretty well, are those, Pacific Standard Time games. But 7 o'clock Eastern time, this game could go either way. It will be a good one to watch. I want to go Miami, and their lines just changed to Miami money line. It was plus money, now it is negative minus 101. So I do think this game can go either way. I want to lean towards Miami because they had that big game last game against Chicago. I do think that carries over. I do think Tyler Hero does good today, and that carries over from last game. The next game we're looking at, though, is Dallas at Memphis. For that game, I have Klay Thompson, 10 points. Daniel Gafford, 4 rebounds. Anthony Davis, 15 to 20 points, 8 to 10 rebounds. Desmond Bane, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Ja Morant, 15 to 20 points. Max Christie, over 3.5 points. I'm going to get to that in a second. And Zach Edey, 8 to 10 rebounds. The two picks that I do like in this game for, some type of value is Klay Thompson sitting at 10 points. Now, Klay Thompson did have a good game 2 days ago, I believe, 2 days ago, or the day, 2 days ago. Klay Thompson's line is at 13.5. He did have a good game last game. He dropped 23 points, the most he's dropped in probably 10 plus games. Yeah. So he's back on that rhythm now to where we can give him the 10 points. Just looking at his last 30. Well, if we look at his last 10, we see that he's played over 30 minutes last game, so it is play-in tournament. I do see him playing over 20 minutes today. With him playing over 20 minutes, he's hit this line in 53 out of 68 games. Head-to-head, he's hit this in 14 out of 16 games. In his last 30, he just had one game where it wasn't just, a red and then a green and then a red. It was always red, green, green. That's the best way for me to explain it if you're looking at my screen. And we also like Max Christie. Now I do think he's getting a little bit more minutes in today's game. He did not get many last game. He had 12 minutes, so roughly around 12 to 15 minutes. With him playing at least 12 to 15 minutes, he's hit 4 points in 65 out of 74 games this year. And as you can see in his last 30 games, he's never went back-to-back games without getting over 4 points in his last 30. If we look at him away, this season away, he's hit this in 34 out of 49 games, averaging 9 points per game. Away versus Memphis this year, he had 8 and 14 against them in his most recent, April 13th. He had 14 on them. So I do like Max Christie today. To get into the game side of things, if we're looking at the statistics, Memphis does put up 121 points per game versus Dallas's 114. So Memphis is better offensively. But field goal, 3-point, and free throw percentage are majority the same. Now, I don't know why I highlighted Dallas right there. Um, but Memphis is the better free throw shooting team. Um, their offense is pretty much the same, besides Memphis averaging 121 versus Dallas's 114. Now, if we're looking at the defensive side of things, Dallas has the better defense, but it's not by a landslide. They allow 115 points per game to Memphis's 116 points per game. Memphis does have the better statistical advantage in the blocks and steals category. However, blocks not so much, but steals, Memphis averages around 8.85 steals per game to Dallas's 7.7. So if Memphis can get some steals, they get to Dallas's offense a little bit, a lot, along with being the top three offensive team in the league right now. I do think Memphis can win this game. Dallas had a great game and they against Sacramento, and they actually surprised me in that game, but I do think they won that game because of size. Now Memphis probably does better size wise than, Sacramento. They got Zach Edey in there. Desmond Bain can get some rebounds. Um, you know, they got different players that can fly around and get in there and get the board for them. I mean, Dallas is the much taller team, but I think when Memphis is offense exploding in this past 10 games, I do think Memphis can get to Dallas today. Their spread is at 6, favoriting Memphis. Money line sitting at -235. Memphis has won 7 of the last 10 games against Dallas. They're 4-6 against the spread. Dallas, they're 5-5 in their past 10, 4-6 against the spread. And Memphis last 10, they're 4-6 against the spread and in their last 10 games. Now, Memphis is very, very good at home. They're 26-15 at home, and Dallas is very poor away. They're 18-25 away. Now, they did just come off that win against Sacramento at Sacramento. They put up 120 to 106. I do think Dallas's energy from that last game can transition to this game, and it will be a close game for a majority of the game. But I do think Memphis's offense can pull it out again in those late third quarters, early fourth quarters. I do think Memphis can pull it off today. I'll be kind of hesitant taking Memphis's spread, but I do think Memphis will win this game. As far as the total goes, that can go either way. I think the total can go over because, the matchups are so good for this game as far as player props goes. I do think the total can go over in this game. This probably will be a more offensive game than defensive, but, you never know. In today's game, Ja Morant is questionable. So if Ja Morant doesn't play, that affects the whole game, which he probably will play. It's a playing game. He needs to play. Anthony Davis is probable for today, so he will play. If Ja Morant doesn't play, man, I'm not sure. Actually, if Ja Morant doesn't play, I like Memphis way, way better. Um, in all honesty, I think they do play better without Ja Morant. In the past 3 games that Memphis has played Dallas, Memphis has won 137 to 97, 122 to 111, and 119 to 104. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this game might be a blowout. Like I said, I do think Dallas's energy, they'll keep it close, second or third quarter, but I think that first and fourth quarter will tell it all for Memphis, and I do think they'll win this game today. Maybe Memphis money line. But that is all I have for today's video. Follow me on Instagram at cr.bets_ is where I post all my plays. I post my tickets. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what I need to do better. Tell me what I need to do a little bit less of. And I appreciate you if you watch this far. Peace.